Hi, I'm Rebecca. Welcome to my sewing room. This is So Be It. This week I am working on my final homemade Christmas project, and it's another quilt. It's a baby quilt. I was planning on making this quilt as a brand new baby gift to go along with the nursery, and their theme is knights and castles and dragons and all of the fairy tale stuff. And you know, you can't really find that in the store. And I do not know enough about the fabric weights yet to confidently order anything online that I am making for a gift. So I had to go with another theme, but I am trying to follow the color theme for the nursery. So at the local fabric shop, not the quilt shop, I went to the regular fabric shop because I knew the quilt shop didn't have anything that I could use for this. I did find at the local fabric shop a few fabrics that will work perfect. Okay, so the first fabric I found that I really liked, I found and decided on because it matches pretty close to the color scheme. I really like all these colors, and they like the dustier, more neutral colors, so I went ahead and got this. I then found a couple fabrics in the baby section that I really liked, and I did go ahead and get a hold of my kids and let them help me decide on which ones to get, and I chose both of their favorite ones. So this first one is Peter Rabbit, and it's got lines from Peter Rabbit from the books. I thought it was so cute, and the colors are pretty close. My other kid didn't choose that one. She chose this. Which I also really love the animals. That's what really caught my eye, was the deer and the bunny. But all of the colors, again, match quite well with the color scheme I'm going for. I needed two somewhat plain or gradient fabrics or something to fit in and just go with it. So this is what I chose. Blue and green to go quite well. I am using this blue also as the binding fabric. I do already have my binding cut out in 2.5-inch strips. And these are all my fabrics together. So I really like them. So the idea I came up with, my batting is 45 by 60 inches. I didn't think that this needed to be 60 inches long. And you always have to have a little extra on the sides. So I'm making the quilt at 40 inches by 55 inches, right? No, by 50 inches, 40 inches by 50 inches. I am using 5-inch squares to go 8 across and 11 down. I'll show you the pattern. So this right here, not this bottom here, but this here is the quilt. I have 8 columns and 11 rows. All of these squares that have a P in it is going to be a square of the Peter Rabbit fabric, 5 inches. And then all of the other ones that are blank, except for these that are not blank, but the ones with the crosses in it, those will be a 4-corner square. I'm cutting each of the squares, each of the individual pieces at 3 inches, and then I'm piecing them together for a total of a 5-inch square altogether. And then I'm doing this somewhat of a diagonal pattern. So that's what I came up with. I'm hoping it's all going to work out, and I hope I have enough of the fabric that I need to do that. So that is my plan. All of the Peter Rabbit will be cut into 5-inch squares, and then all of the other fabric will be cut into 3-inch squares and pieced together into a 4-point. I did find a backing flannel for this that I liked. And I really like this gingham print, or the gingham plaid, and the gray looks quite well with the colors that I have in the fabric. So that's what I'm using. Okay, so I do already have the binding all cut, so now I just have to cut out the squares. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll show you a little bit of it, and then I'll be back to show you how I put it all together. Now that I have all of my squares cut, I do have exactly 24 5-inch squares, which is what I needed. That's what I got out of the Peter Rabbit fabric. I did have enough of the Peter Rabbit fabric to cut a 3-inch strip. So I have I think 13 3-inch squares of the Peter Rabbit fabric that I will be adding into the other squares. I have 4 piles, as you saw in the picture. I have 4 piles of the other fabric. The blue and the green have 1 strip less than the animal print and the just colorful rectangle. So now, since I am making the 2x2 squares, I need to make 56 of those, and they just need to be a random configuration. So I'm going to start by sewing just pairs of squares together until I get through all of them, or until I make 112 pairs, and then I will be sewing those pairs together, and you'll see how I do that. To pair these up, I don't want either of the solids next to each other, and I don't want the prints next to each other. So a print will always be next to a solid. Okay, so this is what I have to do. I'm going to get through all of this, and then I'll be back to show you, then I'll show you the next step of what I'm doing. I will be pressing these flat, probably all to one direction. I'm not sure. I may open it up and make sure I have those corners, because I think for me it's a little bit easier to get those perfect or more perfect corners. But I'll go ahead and show you what I do after I do it, and then I'll show you how I do the next step. So I'll be back. Here I have all of my squares sewn together. This is my pile with Peter Rabbit in it. I only have 13, so I want to spread these out throughout the quilt. And this is the pile without Peter Rabbit. I have them all sewn together. They are all pressed. I now have to square them up to a 5-inch square. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I have all of the squares squared up to 5 inches, and then I went ahead and laid them out in rows as you saw in the picture. This is all of my rows stacked on top of each other, ready to be sewn, and then I will sew them in pairs first. But on top is the bottom row, and then it goes up the quilt from there. So I'll sew these two together, these two, and these two, and then I'll move on to the next row, if that makes sense, I think. I may end up stitching all of the rows, each row together first. I'll go ahead and show you how I do it. So this one here is the far right, and the far left, and this is the far right of the blanket. That's all of the pairs for the bottom row. So I am going to keep going because I know it's 4s. Now you know what? I am going to cut this apart. I'm going to sew these together. That's the bottom row. So I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of this. Once that's done, I will stitch all of my rows together. I'll iron and then stitch all my rows together and iron again, and the quilt top will be done. Alright, so this is my stack of rows. This is the top row all the way down to the bottom row. So now we get to go ahead and sew these together. Okay, I have the entire quilt top together as you just saw, so it is now time to pin baste the top, the batting, and the backing together in order to get the quilting done. At when I got the fabric at the fabric store for this quilt, I found a panel of fabric that I bought. It's all these little things that you can sew onto your projects for to label who you made them for, or just who made them and what date. So I did get one, cover up his name. I did get one for this quilt, crafted with care, and then I have for his name, Love Aunt Becca, and Christmas 2025, because this is for Christmas. So this will probably get hand stitched onto the backing. I did go ahead and press the sides in, but once I get it quilted, then I'll probably just whip stitch around the outside of that nice and securely. Sorry, my video is all wonky. I'm holding it, obviously. But that way it has the label on there for, who it's from, and when it was made. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get pin basting, and then it will be time to quilt. And once I am to that point, I will show you how I'm going to quilt this, because I'm going to quilt this different than I've quilted any of my quilts so far. Okay, as you can somewhat see all these little pin tucks here, it is completely pin basted, so it is now time to quilt this. I do have my walking foot on, and I also have my guide here. It is set at 1 inch away from the needle. I am putting my 5-inch block seam at the guide and stitching on both sides of that seam, vertically and horizontally for the quilting. This batting, you're only supposed to go 4 inches apart, so that will put my furthest stitching 3 inches apart. So that's how I'm going to work this out. And this right here is the center. I'll continue this. finished, as you saw in the video. So I've gone ahead and hand stitched the little tag on in the bottom. I will be trimming down the edges once I take that off and redo it. Can't believe I did that. I did already sew my binding together, and I did the diagonal stitch. Since this is kind of plain, it doesn't really matter. I could have gone straight, but that'll cut down on the bulk in that area. So I did the diagonal stitch. I then pressed all of the seams to one direction and then folded it in half and pressed that. And so that's ready to go. I'll go ahead and show you how I put the binding on once I fix the tag and trim the outside. Okay, so we want to start with the binding on the back. And we don't want to start at the corner because then you won't be able to close it correctly. And you want to leave about 1 inch to 2 inches free at the very beginning. And we'll do a 1/4 inch seam on this. To cut off the excess here and then stick this into the beginning. I'm going to use my scissors to poke it all the way up to the edge here. And now we stitch it closed the rest of the way. Now turn this around. And this will kind of fold over on itself. I try to always start at the seam just to make sure that stays closed and doesn't possibly open back up. And then I have a line of stitching here to hold the quilting together, and that's where I'm going to try and get this stitched. I do not do mitered corners either. I'm going to go ahead and fold this over, and then I'll just continue to stitch. right, that's it. That is how to make a basic 5-inch square and 4 square blanket, baby blanket. I just have to clip a few threads that are left. Otherwise, I love it. Is it perfect? No. Is that okay? Yes, because nothing's ever perfect. It's never perfectly square, but I love it. And he probably won't be able to tell me if he likes it or not yet because he can't talk yet, but that's okay because it'll keep him warm for this cold, snowy. That's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, go ahead and hit that like button for me. If you want to make sure you see all my videos, hit the subscribe button so I show up on your subscribe page. And if you want to be notified every single time I post a video, go ahead and hit that notification bell and YouTube will let you know every single time I post. Thank you for hopefully watching all the way through. I really appreciate you. Rebecca's Sewing Room. This was So Be It.